Hello people, my name is Aravind Manoharan and our group number is 31. Here we are importing the required libraries and we are using GraphView library, which is an open source graph plotting library for Android. Right here we are declaring all the required variables which we're going to use later in the source code. Using this line, we are fixing the orientation to the landscape to have a better experience since we deal with only graph plotting. We are using a spinner, which is nothing but a drop down menu to choose between male or female. We are setting up the ID and we have mentioned the list of words to be listed using string array. And then we are initializing the graph view and setting up the graph ID. Here we are setting up few parameters for the graph view, such as fixing minimum and maximum range for both x and y axis and enabling both vertical and horizontal zooming and scrolling parameters. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nidhi and I would explain about the run and the stop button. Firstly, we are giving our button an ID by using this statement which is used in XML code. By setting the on-click listener, we are enabling our button to listen to users click. Once button is clicked, we get inside the on-click function. Here we are checking that either our graph status is false, which means that the graph is not currently running, or the last X is 0, which indicates that graph hasn't been started yet. So we just display the graph on the screen and then set graph status to be true. Now we check that the graph is still at starting position. Then we start the graph by calling the run graph function, which will be explained later in the video. For the stop function, we are checking once the button is clicked. If the graph is running and is not at starting position, then we remove the graph from the screen by using remove all series function. And then we set the graph status to be false and end it.
Hi, I am Giriraj and I am going to explain how the main thread of the program, the UI thread, runs. Run graph method is called when the run button is hit for the first time, as explained earlier. This runs the thread infinitely until the app is closed. This is a runnable thread which overrides the run method and calls the run on UI thread method. This is a public method in activity class which is used to make changes on the UI and takes runnable object as an input and calls the add entry method, which adds data points to the graph. The detailed functionality of the add entry method will be explained later by my friend. We have also added 100 milliseconds delay after each time the data point is plotted on the graph. This is kept in a try-catch block so that any interruptions, errors is taken care of.
Hi, I am Sarvesh and I am going to explain the data point generation for the graph plotting. As stated before, add entry method is called to plot new points for the graph. On calling this method, it first checks for the status flag, which here is graph status. On finding it true, it moves to add new dataset points to the graph. For this, we are calling series.append data method. This method adds a single dataset to the current data. The method definition takes 3 arguments. First, a new data point object is created for each new dataset and is passed as first parameter. This data point defines x and y values. X value is the new time data on x-axis, whereas y value is the ECG function output, which is a combination of a sinusoidal and exponential functions to generate the graph. Scroll to end flag is set as true, so that it will scroll the graph view automatically to the last x value. Max data points is set to 1000 to avoid any data leaks that may occur while plotting new points.